What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to do a quick video showing you guys how to set up a Pihole. Okay, so what is Pihole? Pihole is basically a network-wide ad blocker that is built on top of the Linux operating system, or it's basically an application that sits on top of the Linux operating system, and it was originally created for the Raspberry Pi, hence the name Pihole. That's how they came up with the name for it. And Pihole is basically a DNS sinkhole, to protect all your devices on your network from unwanted content. And you'll see that when I actually get to the website for it. And let's go ahead on and head over there now so you guys can get a clear understanding of what Pihole is for. Okay, cool. So I'm at the Pihole website. It's pihole.net. As you can see, it has a GitHub project. It's open source, free and open source. Anybody can actually install it and use it. It's made to run on the Linux operating system. And like I stated, it was created for the Raspberry Pi. And so the hardware that you need for this application to run is very minimal. You don't need much hardware to actually run this program. You just have to set up your network where you divert all your traffic from all your different devices on your network to the Pihole, and it will block the ads off of all the sites that you're visiting. And as you can see right here, it basically tells you what's it supported on. It's supported on the Linux operating system. As you can see, it's got a whole bunch of operating systems: Fedora, Ubuntu, CentOS, and Raspbian. And then also Docker. That's one cool thing I wanted to talk about. And the way I'll install it is actually on a container, just to show you guys that it doesn't need much hardware to actually run this application. But let's scroll down a little further. But it says install Pihole. Is very simple to set up. The hardest part is actually setting up the operating system, or setting up whatever operating system you want to run it on. The Pihole installer is super simple, so it's not going to take me long to actually show you guys how to install it. More of the time will be spent on actually configuring it, so I'll walk through that process. Let's go on and get to the installation portion of it. But before I do that, I just wanted to go to the GitHub, and this has a little bit more information. It's pretty much the same information, like formal information at the top, but it goes into the installer, the different ways to install it. It's super easy, like I stated, but we'll walk through that right now. Okay, cool. So I have a container up and running, and this is what I want to use for this demonstration. It's a Ubuntu 20.04 container, and I just want to show you guys how easy it is to actually install this and get it set up. And then we'll go into the configuration portion of it a little bit, and I'll walk through how to actually set this thing fully up once you have it installed. Now let's log into this container. I just spun this thing up. I may go on and run some updates right fast, just to have the system up to date. And it shouldn't take too long. Let's go apt updates, and let's run through the updates right fast, and then we'll do a upgrade as well, because I believe this container will have some updates, because I used this actual container a couple days ago. So let's go on and it has some updates on it. So I'll skip ahead and we'll come back when this is done. Okay, cool. So the updates are done. Now let's go down and go through the installer. Now it's a couple ways to install Pihole. They have a one-step installer, and this basically pulls the script from GitHub and it'll install it through batch. It'll go through and check for dependencies, and it'll check for everything is configured properly on the system, and then install the application and configure everything to actually bring up the Pihole. And the command to do that is simply curl. We'll be using curl, and hopefully it's installed on here. It should be dash lowercase s, capital S, capital L, and then we have to type in the URL, so it'll download the actual script and then run it through bash. So https //install.py-hole.net. And it, like I said, it'll grab the bash script, and then what we want to do is pipe that bash script. It'll grab the information and pipe it through bash and run everything from there. But let's go down, press enter, and this will go through the installer. And as you can see, we don't have curl installed, so I'm gonna have to install that right now. So apt install curl, and it gives you the example. So all you have to do is follow that in case you don't, you run into an issue where something is not installed. Most of the time it gives you the command to run to install that actual application that's needed as a dependency. As you can see, curl didn't take too long to install, so let's go down and just up arrow. That way we can run the command again. Now we have curl install. We can run through the installer right fast, and I'll just let it run so you guys can actually see what all it does. And we could, I'll walk you guys through it. It says update local cache of available packages, and then it's going to go through and hold on, it says kernel update detected. If install fails, please reboot and try again. So that's one thing I didn't do. I did a kernel, I noticed that there was a kernel update within the updates that I ran earlier. I should have rebooted the system after that, but hopefully it doesn't fail. We'll reboot it after this anyway. I just wanted to go down and install it right fast, that way we can get everything going. And as you can see, it's downloading and unpacking all the packages that it needs to install Pihole. There are some dependencies you can see, like libarrow-perl, gitman, git, that's not installed on there. It'll check to see if you have all those dependencies and then install those dependencies, which is super cool. Now this is one thing right here. It'll ask specific questions, basically saying this installer will transform your device into a network-wide ad blocker. So we can just press enter for OK. It says the Pihole is free but powered by donations, so you can donate to the Pihole project. Just check it out if you want to donate to them, because it's definitely needed for a lot of these open source projects. Now it says the Pihole is a server, so it needs a static IP address to function properly. In this section, you will choose and use your current network settings, DHCP, or you can manually edit them. So I'm gonna press OK, and I'm gonna leave it on DHCP. And the only reason I'm gonna use DHCP because I have the container's IP address static, so I don't have to worry about setting a static IP address. Now it says Google as the upstream DNS provider. You can use Google, OpenDNS, level 13, DNS.watch, Komodo. I never used Komodo, Quad 9, and it's a couple more in here, Cloudflare. And you can also add custom down there. As you can see, you can put in a custom DNS server, but I'm gonna just use Google for this demonstration. And then right here it says Pihole relies on third-party lists in order to block ads. And right now this list is the Stephen Black list. It's unified host list, so we're going to use that. You could deselect it by hitting the space bar if you don't want to use that one. And then let's tab down, and that should take us to the bottom. Since it's already selected, I'm gonna use that list. Press OK, boom. And then right here it says select protocols, and my network, I have IP version 6 turned off, so I'm gonna turn that off. I don't need it. All I'm using is IP version 4. So let's go down and tab down and press OK there. And it says, do you want to use the current network settings as a static IP address? And yes, I do, because like I stated, I have this container set up with a static IP address. And press yes, boom. And then right here, IP conflicts. Is it possible your router could still try to assign this IP address to another device? Just basically make sure that you don't run into any IP conflict. So if you have a DHCP server, go down and set up your DHCP server to only issue out IP IPs from a specific block of IPs, which is the way I have mine set up. Most people's router is set up like that, so just make sure you use an IP address outside of that block of IPs that are reserved for the DHCP server. Now let's go down and press OK right here. Boom. It says, do you wish to install the web admin interface? And yes, we definitely do. So let's go down and hit tab. That'll take us down to OK and press enter. Boom. And it says, do you wish to install the web server and require PHP modules? And yes, we definitely do. That's the recommended. You want to do that so you can have the actual website come up so you can manage everything for the Pihole. Now let's press enter there. Good to go. And it says, do you want log queries turned on? I definitely want log queries turned on for, you know, just this demonstration. And let's press OK. We're good to go. It says select a privacy mode for FTL. And FTL is basically the privacy level. They have different levels. So level 0, it basically shows everything. Level 1, it kind of hides domains. Level 2, it hides domains and clients. And this is all pertaining to the logs and how everything is logged within the actual Pihole. You can see everything within the logs of the application that are actually shown in the screen and I'll show you guys this when we actually get into the Pihole web administrator. And so I'm gonna use the default like I stated, which is the 0, which will show everything. So let's press OK. Boom. And now it's gonna finish configuring your Pihole. So to go through and check for everything that's on the system and make sure it's all set up properly. And one thing, like I stated, I have to reboot the system. You guys should have seen a couple of errors, and those errors have to do with me basically not rebooting the system after I updated it. Now I'll skip ahead for this to finish. And one thing to explain why this thing is going, and it finished up right fast, but that's the actual admin page. It gives you the admin page right there. You basically type in the IP address and then /admin, and that'll bring you up to the web interface for Pihole. But one thing I forgot to say before I started this whole upgrade, I just wanted to explain to you the specs of the container. I basically gave it 512 megabytes of memory, which is the default for containers on Proxmox. I could have done a little bit more, and I recommend you do a little bit more. I would say at least 1 gig if you could spare it, but 512 will actually work, because at the end of the day, you know, this thing was, like I stated, built for the Raspberry Pi. Now the newer Raspberry Pis, you know, they have a whole lot more memory you can get on those actual little boards. Like one of my Raspberry Pis, I can't remember which one it is, I think it's a 3B or something. It has 2 gigabytes of memory. And then also this container has 512 megabytes of swap space. So that's good enough. And I gave it 1 core because it doesn't need much to actually run the actual application and block all the ads for you. And then also the disk space that this thing is taking up, I only gave it 8 gigabytes of hard drive space because nothing else will be installed on here. Now, one thing you want to take note of is the admin web login password. As you can see, you want to, you know, kind of copy and paste that or put that somewhere. That way you know what it is when you actually log into it. It'll generate a random password during the installation. So I'm gonna just copy and paste it. That way we can log into the web interface. And before we actually go to the website, I just want to go down and change the password right fast. And I'll reboot the system right now. So let's just type reboot because it doesn't take long with containers. You know, it'll come right back. Boom. And as you can see, you know, that reboot was super quick. So let's log in again. Roots. Type in my password to the Pihole. And you can run a quick command, Pihole -A and -P. And this will allow you to change the default password. So it says enter a new password. So you can type in whatever you want here. And it doesn't move. So you guys know, just think just understand that you are typing something there. It's just blanked out. You can't really see it. So as you can see, the password is set. The new password is set for the actual Pihole, and that's one thing you wanted to do. I forgot to say that, but now we can get over to the web browser right fast and finish setting everything up. Okay, cool. So soon as I typed in the IP address and /admin, it brought up the main page. Now, in order to change things within here, because anybody can actually look at the statistics, if you know what the IP address is of your Pihole on your local network, you can actually go to it and actually see everything about it, and it shows some statistics on the front page. But in order to change anything or modify anything, you actually have to log into it. And as you can see, total queries, queries blocked, percentage blocked, domains, and block lists. So this is part of that list that we installed on the server when we went through the configuration within the command line. There already is a list, and one thing about Pihole, it uses a SQL database in the back end, a relational database, and that's where everything is actually stored as far as all the domains. And I just kind of wanted to explain that so you guys would know. But moving on the left hand side, this is the main navigation. Up here at the top, you can see the status of your system. This shows the temperature, the load, the memory usage. Right now it's 10%, and like I stated, you don't really need much hardware to run this actual application, so it's not any need for a full virtual machine to actually run this thing. You could just run it in a container. You can run it in Docker. They do have a Docker image for it, so you can install it that way as well. But the main navigation, you got your dashboard. Like I stated, this is the main page. This would have come up right away. This is how you actually log into it. So the user account is Pihole. It never changes. The user account, you really can't change this Pihole. All you have to do is type in the password. So let's type in the password right now so we can log into it. Boom, boom, and then boom. There we go. So now we logged into it, and I will never save my password with Chrome. And as you can see, it opened up a whole lot more information, as you can see, and then we'll go through the rest of it. It's the query log, long time data. So this is graphs and statistics logs, top lists of domains blocked, different things like that. It says long-term data. Then you have your whitelist, you have your blacklist. So whitelist obviously is websites that you don't want blocked, or you don't want the ads blocked on. And then you got your blacklist, so that'll block actual websites from being accessed on your network. And really, you can run this thing as a local DNS server, and I'll show you guys down here now. But there's a group management. You can set up groups, clients, domains, ad lists. Right here you got disable, so you can disable certain things indefinitely for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 5 seconds, or custom time. Down here is some tools. Now here is the Pihole diagnosis, upgrade gravity, query list, audit log, tail, Pihole log, tail, Pihole FTL log. So that's basically the tail command. So that'll show information when you run the tail command, like you would on a Linux operating system. Generate debug log, network. You can change network settings here. Here are some settings right here. So and I wanted to show you guys this right here. So here's the network information. Like I stated during the installation, I didn't set up IP version 6 because that's not used on my network. And we can go through and kind of look at some of this right here. This is just some more statistics or FTL information right here. And then you got disable query logging, flush network tables, restore DNS resolver, restore system, power off system, flush logs last 24 hours. So, and then right here is the ad list, DNS right here, DHCP. If you want to manage DHCP on here, you can actually set up and run a DHCP server here. So super cool that you can actually do that. And then down here is the leasing information, so you can see all that information here, and you can manage your network using this Pihole. Now API, web interface, And then top clients, query log, right here, interface appearance. They do have a couple themes, which is super cool, because you guys know I like dark themes, so I would definitely use the dark theme. The administrator password or email, you can put that in here as well. Some styling. This is just the checkbox and radio buttons. You can use the primary, and they have other ones right there. Then you have CPU temperature unit. You could change this to Fahrenheit if you wanted to, or leave it at Celsius, which I'm gonna just leave it at Celsius. So it'll basically change the temperature over here, just basically how you show it. So that's basically changing things for the web interface. Now you have your privacy settings, so DNS resolver privacy. So this is basically what I was talking about, the 4 different levels. So level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, you know what I'm saying? That'll show the information based on the privacy settings that you have on here. Now teleporter, I'm not sure what this one is. Oh, but it has a backup. So you set up backups, or you can create a backup of your Pihole configuration. So let's say you have this thing set up however you want it. You could back up that configuration and then probably import it. Yes, yeah, you can import all your settings back by using the restore feature that they have on here. So super cool. And then here is the local DNS settings, and you can actually go in here and create records. And I know I didn't go through all of these like that. I'm gonna click on them in a second, but you got your local DNS settings. You can add, CNAME records, and all kind of little records in here that'll allow you to manage names. You can set up aliases, all that good stuff. And then here we have the log out, and then the donate button, and then the documentation, which we all need to use. Every now and then you got to look up how to actually do something and check out the documentation. But just going back in here, let's see, this is the query log, so it'll store a log and everything, and it'll show a list. And I should have clicked on some of this stuff when we was going through it, but this is the graphical statistics. And I played around with this on a Raspberry Pi in the past, so that's why I know what it actually looks like, or what to actually look for. You got your wild list, wild list, or white list, I'm sorry, and then black list right there. You can add domains, and blacklist certain things. And that's pretty much it on actually setting this thing up. You don't really have to configure much unless you want to. Like I was stating, the local DNS, you can set that up. DHCP is in here, built into this actual application, so you can use this as a router. You can use a Raspberry Pi and run it as your local router, where you have DHCP set up, DNS, the resolution, and then you can also have that comfort of blocking all the ads on your network. So everything that actually goes through this Pi will be blocked based on the list that you specified. Okay, so the Pihole is super cool and a great addition to your network. It would definitely improve the speed of your network, as well as blocking ads. So super dope application. I implore you guys to actually check it out for yourself and configure it on your own network, and see if it'll help you with the ads that you currently get, especially on a whole bunch of websites that you frequent. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave comments down in the comment boxes below, and of course, keep it techie.